What's going on is Anton from antondaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. This is breaking news courtesy of the New York Post. If it isn't the joyless Reid, whose show is being canceled by MSNBC as the network makes major shakeups, it looks like diversity, equity, and inclusion wasn't even needed in order to identify the lowest hanging fruit and the shows with the lowest ratings. Now, we all knew, before I even deep dive into this, we all knew that Joyless Reid was absolutely horrible. Like, whoever decided that they wanted to bring this woman onto the platform and give her narratives and whatever speeches that she could against the regime, and she couldn't wait to say some of the most negative things about Trump. We all knew that Joy Reid was trash, right? As a talent, an on-air talent. Now she bites the dust just like everybody else, and now she has to pay the piper because the network is losing money as a result of keeping these diversity, equity, and inclusion hires on these platforms. But before I get into my whole spiel about what I think makes sense, Joy Reid, let's just go into the article. And again, this is courtesy of the New York Post. MSNBC liberal, left-leaning, raging liberal, I might add, mainstay Joy Reid's show has been canceled as a part of a major overhaul by the network's new president, Rebecca Cutler. Say it isn't so that a woman, Becky, no, you did not eliminate Joy Reid. You might get a new tangent. And we all know what they're going to do. They're going to do the same thing that everybody else does that tries to create a platform. They're going to come on over to the dark side and being an independent journalist. Actually, I'm not really so sure about that because most of the time women, they don't necessarily branch off and do their own thing. I have to give a little bit of credit to Don Lemon. I really do. And I don't want to, but I have to be objective. And that even though I don't agree with Don Lemon's lifestyle, and even though I don't agree with the takes that Don Lemon has, I think he is absolutely wrong on most of the takes that he has. I have to give him some credit in that he did not let the fact that he got fired from CNN, it took him a little while to figure it out, but he didn't let the fact that he got fired from CNN ultimately prevent him from creating his own platform and finding his niche, right? Just because I don't necessarily agree with him does not mean that he does not have a segment or an audience out there that may or may not be rocking with him. And he's seemed to have found his niche on social media, and he works. He really does work. And even though, again, I think that Don Lemon is a raging liberal, I don't agree with his lifestyle. The fact of the matter is, men have a wherewithal within themselves to really push and to really grind and to come back to the inherent thing that we are. And we are hustlers. At the end of the day, we are hustlers. So I'm using him as an example, an extreme example, to illustrate the difference between men and women and why in this new culture, and it doesn't matter if you're a federal employee, it does not matter if you are laid off from private equity and all of these other private companies or a publicly traded company, whatever it is, women are going to have a tough time segment themselves and really creating a narrative and an audience, in my opinion. And I'm sure that she has a couple different people that, may tune into her show if she decides to go independent. But I can't imagine anybody hiring Joy Reid. She just gonna have to go and get a regular job. Or I don't know what her personal life is, and I don't like to dig into people's personal lives, but either a job or lean into a husband or lean into her husband. If she has a husband, she just gonna have to do it because this woman is absolutely horrific as far as being an on-air talent. I don't even think that she reads the scripts that they give her well, but let's continue to deep dive into it. The 7 p.m. program hosted by Trump critic Reid, and who put her on primetime? Who put her in a 7 p.m. slot? That's just despicable. Reid 56 will be replaced by a new panel show featuring co-hosts Alicia Menendez, Michael Steele, Simone Sanders Townsend. The New York Times reported. So they're going to go with a panel show. They should have came and hollered at Anton from antondaniels.com and said, you know what? We need to switch things all the way up and go with a completely off-script conservative person to save the network. I could have saved y'all network in a 7 p.m. slot, but neither here nor there. The final episode of Reid show, The Readout, which I look forward to seeing what her narrative is. will air sometime this week, ending a mainstay of MSNBC's lineup for the past 5 years, according to the Times. Look at Joy Reid. Jesus Christ. Goes on to say, it marks the first large-scale shakeup by MSNBC's new president, Cutler, since she took over the liberal network earlier this month, because they're bleeding money and they're absolutely losing their net worth, similar to what's happening over there at CNN, but MSNBC is worse. Reid, one of the most prominent Trump bashers in the mainstream media, has been a long-serving anchor at the network, hosting a weekend talk show, AM Joy, since 2016, before being named anchor of the 7 p.m. slot in 2020. I hope you saved your money, baby girl. She has made a series of infamous rants in recent months, including telling Trump supporters to make your own dinner at Thanksgiving, saying they should suffer the consequences of your votes. And anybody that actually went to the YouTube channel of MSNBC could see that Joy Reid was absolutely losing as far as any kind of visibility and any kind of real audience that was tuning in and making sure that they stayed loyal to the network, courtesy of her. She wasn't bringing in any new viewers. Her views was going down. And we are in a dog-eat-dog world. We are in a world where, regardless of whether you're liberal or conservative, that if you are not putting up numbers, baby, if you are not entertaining, if you cannot hold an audience, if the people don't rock with you, if you continue to go on these rants, which is basically torpedoing the network, then you are going to be, and that's what we mean by eliminating DEI hires. She came in at a time where it was most popular for you to get into DEI, right in the pandemic, right before they stole the election, in my opinion. And so they kept her on the network thinking that somehow, some way, people were going to continue to go against Trump, when in reality, the majority of Americans agreed with Trump. Even Democrats that don't even realize that Democrats of yesteryear is not the same Democrats of today. And I think that that's a lot of the young people. She's not bringing in the men. She's not bringing in audiences 18 through 34. They don't understand the culture. And I think that amidst this shakeup, you're going to continue to see heads roll. Now, I don't know anything about Becky that came over and took over next month. And so I'll have to do a little bit of research on that. But I am absolutely in agreement. Actually, I'm in disagreement. I think they should have kept Joy Reid on so that they can continue to torpedo the ratings and lose money. But obviously, everything is a business, and nothing is spared, including trying to create. I wonder if Al Sharpton and all of their people are going to protest MSNBC and turn their backs against them now that Joyless Reid and Jasmine Crockett can no longer go onto the platform in order to say all of the rhetoric and the negative things that they need to say about Trump and all of the rest of the Republicans and conservatives and all of the values, and continuing to stand up for the LGBTQ community, and also on that protest in agreement with trying to make sure that women can desecrate their bodies and eliminate babies in order to make sure that they have that as a new form of contraception, Planned Parenthood and all of this stuff. Listen, it's over for y'all. It's over. Now that we have removed the protections and made sure that your contract, as soon as your contract was up, we're going to go ahead and cut ties, get y'all up out of there, and make sure that we hold y'all accountable. The only thing left is to see A, who's next, and B, what happens to these people, or do they just fade into oblivion? I'll keep you guys updated. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Y'all let me know what y'all think about Joy Reid getting axed in favor of a panel show, which I'm not sure is going to work, but we'll see what's happening. Getting axed from MSNBC. I love you. I appreciate you. Can't wait to read y'all comments on this one.